And we're in just like that. Moneyline Monaco podcast. Welcome in. Friday basketball. What a wonderful day in sports. Are you kidding me? NFL draft day 2 on one screen. NBA, NHL playoffs, and the YouTube TV box score, if you're still rocking with YouTube TV. Welcome into the Moneyline Monaco podcast. Alex Monaco here. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, goes a long way. Live streaming on my Moneyline Monaco TikTok, where we throw up fun content like Duran's inbound pass for the whole game on national television. But most importantly, MSG Networks with Breen and Han and the boys and the Knicks. And we're recapping. I went 4-0 on MSG Networks. Better half hour, the show I host. Make sure to check it out. We are back on Sunday with a show before game 4. I went 4-0. And again, if you follow what I'm up to past this podcast, I do cover the New York Knicks on the pregame show from a betting lens, and we throw out parlays. And we went 3 for 4 on the lay, but 4 for 4 on the props on TV, and hit on the Knicks money line. And it's a benefit to tuning in. I have the insights. Now, these were BetMGMs at the time because that's the show sponsor. But the idea of 51-49 on the tickets and 70-30 on the money, really it was 71 to be exact, 71%. That's incredible, as I call it, diagonal discrepancy when you're reading the line movement. And on top of that, the public buying in to the Detroit Pistons narrative off of the game too. And a lot of people were saying, and I understand the points and I understand the angles, most importantly from an effort perspective. But Detroit through the first 7 of 8 quarters, you can make those cases. I mean, that was the 5th worst rebounding performance I had mentioned on the air of the Knicks all season. 3 dudes went for over 10, but Tibbs owns it like a mensch. And the trend I had, because it was Tibbs saying, look, the whistle's going to be the whistle, which I also read, food for thought on air, second most opponents' free throws in the entire Knicks season. Second most and third most makes. So you're going to be that in the weeds, and I've seen too much, Jerry. I've seen behind the Santa Claus at the mall off hours in this game. Seen too much. But more or less, you're that good. You're that good that the fouls were within 5, but the free throw disparity was 15 towards the road team. And my hypothesis of no other road team through the first 2 games had that kind of disparity from home to road, forget about it. Got to call it out. Got to call it out. But all you could do off the Vegas L is come back and smack them with a Vegas dub. And public goes Detroit. I take the Knicks to the bank. Sharp line, 118, 116, close at 1.5. They do not know what they're doing. But look, it was the Knicks today, tomorrow, and the next day in game 3. And ironically, macro observations here from a betting lens was it was the Pistons that were the emotional boxer in the ring. It was the Pistons that were going to sit there and be essentially a team that was more or less a happy to be there, first home game off their first win in double-digit years. So the bettor became emotional when you look at the splits, Pro versus Joe, and the team, the Pistons, echoed that. It's a rare moment in what I don't think is a zigzag series, unlike a couple others in the NBA playoffs. I think this is a Knicks right back to potentially 5. They could bury them in Detroit. Thanks for playing. PTSD of the Commanders beating the Lions, baby. But not really. Unbelievable season for the Pistons. They're already, again, I don't mean it as a jab, but it is a stray. Happy to be here versus expected to be here. I mean, this is a Knicks team pre-flop on the season, top 5 to win it all, top 3 to win the East. Come on now. Where were the Pistons? They exceeded their expectations, but they exposed their youth in a game where Tobias Harris went back to Philadelphia 76er Tobias Harris. But the game was more about the Knicks and getting back to their game. They could have cared less about the whistle. They could have cared less about the extracurricular. And ironically, them on Brunson, Captain Clutch, off the award, Natty TV with it. Take a bow, please. You're going to sit there and go, oh my gosh, the fans are helping the Knicks. See, chirping a lot of teams in this 2025 NBA, as once coined the skinny jeans era, it works. You think New York Knicks basketball, although maybe not player for player, dog for dog, as tough as last year's team, if we're going old school fight, but you don't think this team off of booze at Little Caesars, hold the marinara and the breadsticks, please, isn't going to rise to the occasion and bounce off of that and use that as momentum? You're sorely mistaken. But look, I've seen 82 games of this team. I know their biorhythms. Their top 3 awful loss straight up. They continue to show up and show out. And the great stat I read on the Better Half Hour was they were 7-1. 7-1 under Tibbs, the Knicks, the following game after going under 100 points. And at the end of the day, the Pistons showed you they don't have the horses because Cade can play above the rim. Duran can do his thing in the paint. Thompson can two-way it. Look, there's still Jaden Ivey banged up. They're supposed to have another scorer. This is a 7 3-point outing from Tim Hardaway Jr., and they didn't win the ball game. Dennis the Menace playing ridiculous above his pay grade offensively speaking. So I go 4-0 on props, knowing OG Anunoby had his least points since March and his least field goal attempts since mid-February. So him going even more games than not in the last 10, 20 plus off a humble game. I smashed it. How you doing? Take a bow. Brunson, knowing he's coming off 27 field goal attempts, game 1, game 2, obviously sits there and on the road has the wherewithal, like the quarterback he is, to ingratiate his teammates. And bada bing, bada boom, he clears his prop and goes without question 9 dimes. Ironically, had a Luka line with 7 boards last night. Take a bow. Captain Clutch cashes that prop. We gave out Cat over 33.5 points and rebounds. And man clears 30 points on his own. That's a buy low spot where he didn't score in the fourth. So a prop feast for your boy. 4-0. I'm just saying it because I'm betting all these series and betting props and putting parlays together, but I cover, obviously, the New York Knicks and knowing well. So going into game 4 here, coming off a game, you have different challenges now. You're off a win on the road. This is going to be the entire season and the entire series from the Detroit Pistons perspective. Matter of fact, pendulum swinging, I don't blame you if you are thinking of going the Pistons. I don't have the emotional button to do it. I actually think the Knicks are going to bury him. And you have till mid-Sunday to sleep on it, but they're getting 2 and they're plus 114. So even more money and more emphasis, potentially, I should say tickets, is potentially going to come in here as we'll wait because we're 2 sleeps out for the splits a little closer. But I'm going to take a look at it on the pre-flop, minus 134. Fascinating. But look, Knicks, handful of times on the season, go for 4 guys in their starting lineup over 20 points. It's happened, and it's happened more times than a couple, but it's also happened only a handful of times. But 118, 116, and in your box score, you're feeling absolutely fantastic from a starting 5 perspective. And if you know the Knicks, Josh Hart giving you an almost double-double on rebounds and assists is incredible. But Bridges giving you 7 boards, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Bridges just gets dragged on this Knicks team and doesn't often get thanked. But his role is invaluable when he is playing it to his highest ability. And 20 points off a 19 and also a quiet fourth in game 2 was huge. And as you look, obviously, what Brunson did with 30, a lot of those points racked up at the end there. He was the free throw and the closer. But Carl, top to bottom, was unbelievable nails out the gate. Now, didn't end up with 8 rebounds doing what I thought he would do. I actually inked him for 12. I thought he would show up and show out because when he goes on the season under 10, he typically comes back. But he is clearly the emphasis with Duren. Now Paul Reed's in this series due to the banged up Isaiah Stu, Thompson. Whoever's banging bodies in there is going all in to bang Cat up. But I'm going to go Knicks plus money in game 4, excuse me. I have no other reason to do so. And I may consider ordering Mike and Ike's and flirting with an Ice Cube triple-double for Josh Hart. 1601 is incredible value. It's ridiculous to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, I'm not that worried about the rebounds. I know if the boys are humming and shooting and playing loose, he can hit 10 assists without question. It's can he, or does he want to get 10 points? Because he's so selfless and he plays such an invaluable role for these boys that it's tough to sit there otherwise and think anything of the sort. Now, I don't want to just give in to Knicks talk and nothing else. I'd be remiss to not talk a little bit around the league. I think the Bucks are in a unique game 3 spot here. They're very good at home, 1 game above the rim for the Pacers on the whole season on the road. And the Bucks were 8-0 down the stretch. Let's not forget in April. So losing 3 straight, it was a whole another calendar month ago. This kind of Bucks team. So gut check game for the boys and an opportunity to maybe parlay in Vegas. Believes them to be the winner at -205. Another team you feel very, very confident in. We are also looking ahead at a Saturday line of 2.5, and we got a tailbone looming. That's Jimmy Butler going or not going, and 2.5 tells me Butler is trending towards missing game 3. And it's really tough to cap the game without knowing it. But the only thing that would be worth jumping on if you want to get a little bit of a better number would be Steph Curry props. But I'd like to think that the books are already thinking ahead. And it's seeming like that because Butler is not up often on these props and the value could otherwise be gone. If somehow anything changes, that would be the mindset. With no Jimmy Butler, it's a whole nother series. It's a whole nother game. I'm so upset because I saw a light and a lane for the Warriors. And the 2 cents from my perspective as a not a science guy, but not a science guy, is the Warriors' energy with the combo of the big 3 plus the IQ of Steve Kerr. 4 basketball minds, I don't think you can challenge any other 4 in this year's tournament. Butler, Curry, Draymond, Kerr's basketball IQ versus any other 4s. Basketball IQ, you're going to give me Austin Headband Reeves, who lets DiVincenzo hit a 35-footer in his face with 4 seconds to end game 1, not knowing the half and the situation, only to let the T-Wolves come out 11-0. Yeah, that would never happen under a Jimmy Bucket's top 3 with Kerr-type club. The point I'm making is that whole juju, that whole vibe, that Kitsma, it's completely out the window. Now we're back to Curry restless middle of the season. What are they going to do with this entire future of the franchise? They need to. So you do have Kuminga. So it's unbelievable because it's Heat culture to some degree, Western Conference with it. They have pieces. They can sort of like, all right, let's plaster this house together to get through it. But I don't know that I want to put real dollars on it. I mean, 203 is the over-under. I thought the best bet in the entire tournament. Game 1 was first quarter under Rockets Warriors. Let's not forget, we know what the Rockets are on defense, what the Warriors are on defense, especially off a loss. Might not light it up on the scoreboard quarter 1, but over under in the first quarter. Oh, come on, dude. Forget about it. And Luka's ain't going to triple-double in Minnesota. It's just a question of game 3 or game 4. And so, yeah, cruising around the board. Those are some thoughts. I think the Clippers have mentally buried the Nuggets. I don't know that the Nuggets even want to be there. It's unfathomable to think, you go from a 3-peat growing up childhood. That's the goal, 3-peats. You see it again with a couple of teams working their way towards it in the modern day era. But a team like Denver that has that core 4 still there, and they just look like they don't even want to be there. I mean, that is like you got trolled. Like, where would Jokic 2 years ago fed see those horses on the wall trolling them at Clippers courtside and just lie down? I mean, he played unbelievably well, statistically speaking. So I'm not like calling him out or nothing. That's more speaks to what can you do to rally the boys past the effort on the court. That's first and foremost, sure. But we're talking about a morale thing. When we're talking about the Nuggets, they got no GM, no coach. What do you mean? That we're not talking about a morale thing? So they haven't been able to look at the painting from a ethos, pathos, locos way, and it just looks like the Clippers are burying them. I've been cheeky with the props in this series. Kawhi double double. I should have played it solo because I had Kawhi rebounds when Michael Porter Jr. rebounds, and that's a tasty, really appetizing parlay. But just take your humble winnings. Kawhi at home rebounding. I mean, the man is jumping and flying around. So he's somebody to take a look at on Saturday evening on the Prop Shop Game 4. I love it. We're going to long shot likely play Hart on Sunday's matinee. Josh Hart's raising twins. All right. Josh Hart was an energy guy before he was raising twins. You don't think he's going all out on a matinee 1 o'clock? He's up at all hours in the Hart household. That's why Mike and Ike's is stacked to the brim. So it's an unbelievable team. And I think they're going to show who everybody doesn't really believe them to be when they go into Little Caesars and they overeat. And that's what the American way is. So appreciate your subscribe, rate, review. Goes a long way. Don't forget to follow me on Money Line Monaco across social. We're Alex Monaco on Twitter. And as always, don't forget to hug your mothers. Ta-ta real smooth.